Good evening. I see my assassins have failed. You know who you are. Yeah, this is gonna be the first Curiosity Forge video, and I thought I already had this piece shot, and it turns out I hit the take a picture button, not the record button. So I have a still of me in the middle of a word that looks like I either smelled my own fart or someone else's, and it was horrifying. So what we're looking at right now is a quick shop tour, just going through showing what I have to work with as it sits right now. For you forging and forward guys, one of the other reasons I'm showing off the shop is just so that, you know, I am a brand new smith. I have almost no experience. I have got a few evenings of training at the goat farm in Atlanta, and I've gotten a couple days worth of lessons from a bladesmith, and everything else I've been guessing at, and I haven't made many projects. But with the giveaways for people that need tools because they're a new smith, I'm not that guy. You know, some of the tools I have some huge shortcomings, but they are still more than enough tool to get the job done. And, you know, so I do not need to look for handouts. And I don't have a firm fixed plan for buying the right tools to replace these. The 2x72 belt grinder is a big one because it's not the way they are traditionally designed for a proper bladesmith, which will be most of my focus for a long time. But I do have a plan when I eventually buy, or maybe sack up enough to build my own 2x72 the way I want it. That one will become specifically for wood projects. It will still have tons and tons of uses because it is really good for what it is, but it won't be for, say, flattening blades out, putting bevels on, stuff like that, if there's a better way to do it. The forge is the other one. It suffices for right now, but it's a very tiny single burner forge. If I'd have known what I was getting on eBay, I would have definitely placed a different order, but this one does what I need it to for now. I'm probably not going to be able to get a full-size set of tongs out of it, but a better two-burner forge that will do it is only like $250, so it's not like I have to save for that long to get that. I'd like to say I don't have to sell a lot of pieces to do that, but I don't think it's going to be more. I don't think it's going to be less than 4, maybe 5 years before I really sell any pieces that are worth more than, you know, 20, 30 bucks. My skills just aren't there yet. My fit and finish is not there yet. So I said, and I kind of went through a rather long-winded explanation of how some of those tools got there, where I'm at with building my shop, and what I'm shooting for with starting this channel up. And I renamed it. It was Dr. Strange Fart for the guys that saw me on their live feed comments, and I didn't really feel like that was going to bring, it wasn't going to bring respect for the craft. You know, it felt like using that to make light of what I'm doing, and by virtue what other smiths are doing with their YouTube videos wasn't going to help anybody, least of all myself. So I thought I'd be far better off paying respect to both the craft and other craftsmen that are doing this, so that, you know, I'm not just straight up clowning and then someone that hasn't seen a video happens to stumble across that and looks at it and like, oh, that's what these guys are doing. Alright, not interested. You know, hopefully at some point I can learn enough and start doing cool enough stuff that I, you know, pull some viewers. But that's neither here nor there. The point behind this is for me to document what I'm doing as I learn, because I'm probably going to want to go back and look at it later on down the road. And hopefully somebody could learn something from watching me fail. So this is going to be a very interesting process. And, you know, so hopefully people aren't mad that I spent this much time on this, but that's okay. Once I get to the videos where I'm making stuff, it'll be a different beast entirely, because the camera will be fixed in one spot watching me work and not being carried around and being pointed at stuff, and me trying to guess where my face is on the phone's back camera instead of the front facing camera, because it won't let me switch back and forth while I'm filming. And right now it's on the table in the war room. And of course I think I did mention the war room in the other half of the video. If I didn't, the war room is just where me and my crew show up and play D&D every so often. We take turns hosting, and when it's my turn, I've got like 3 or 4 full-size tables down here pushed together for like 6 to 8 people. And also got like TV, extra PlayStations, extra Xboxes, And this is going to be where I store crap I can't put anywhere else in the house too. So yeah, I think that's all I've got. Y'all enjoyed the other half of this video, and I will catch you later, hopefully with something shorter and less annoying. Okay, now I'm back, and this is the shop tour. Alright, that's leftovers from cleaning the garage. Crap. I've got a place to get rid of this stuff. I just couldn't get it last week because other things came up. But, you know, we'll start here, and here's some of the basic stuff. Like, we bought those hand trucks to move. There's the mower and the wheelbarrow, which hopefully won't be in the shop for long. That's my storage area for small pieces of wood that are easily lost. For example, pin blanks. I also keep a lot of corian and other stuff in there so I can find it. And there's all my yard work stuff. If you look under this chair, there are a few interesting project pieces there that I'm planning on using for knife scales. I am going to figure out how to skin them with the tools I have at hand and turn those into knife scales. When it works, they look amazing, and 3 of those will be good. One of them is probably going to be all black, which will also be good, but for different reasons. More yard care stuff, and I cannot tell you the value of a good pair of boots when doing any work at all. But let's go over here. This is where we're starting to get into the good stuff. This is the pile of steel that I'm currently working on building up. I've got a whole bunch in the truck to bring in right now as it is. If you come over here, this is the little tiny knife making forge that I got. I picked this up like 4 years ago and got a few weeks of use out of it and haven't done much since because life got crazy and I had to pack everything up. There's the beauty. The turn of the century Peter Wright, and this deck right here, when I first got it, was completely full of pits and had a deep trough down the middle from rust, and I managed to get it resurfaced myself with about 14 hours of grinding with a belt sander and working with a file. Don't ever want to do that again. And again, like I say, you can never underestimate the value of a good pair of boots to work in. Never. There's one of my angle grinders. There's another one I'm going to bring out, which again, pure Harbor Freight Chinesium on the other one, but I've had it for years and it hasn't let me down yet. Extension cord rolls. You can never have enough, ever. Electric chainsaw I got to figure out how to store. Shop vac for I'm not sure what yet. Maybe cleaning up stuff like this table. Oh! There's the 2x72. And this is a Grizzly. And I ordered this on eBay for 600 bucks. And I thought I could do more with it when I ordered it. I didn't want to spend $2,500 for, you know, a full-blown bladesmith grinder. So I've got this, and it does put work in. You can do a lot with it, but there are a lot of things you can't do because you can't replace this plating right here. Of course, this wheel's all the way up here, so you can't really hold the knife at the top of the plating and run it back and forth to get it flat, you know, stuff like that. It's going to take some creative working to figure out how to get the most out of this possible. And this little forge are the 2 biggest liabilities I have in this workshop right now because this forge can't handle anything bigger than like a Bowie knife. I ordered that on eBay and I thought I was going to get a bigger forge. It looked bigger in the pictures and, you know, I'm mad at myself. I'm not mad at whoever makes Atlas mini forges because this mini forge is absolutely great. Does what it says it's going to do. No problems, no complaints. It gets that steel red hot. It's just small, and I will buy a bigger one so that this can be a companion for smaller projects. You know, if I want to make a normal size knife, which I'm only just learning how to do instead of a giant beast that can take down a forest, you know, I can make regular sized blades in there and do small projects and use up less propane. And it will be good for a lot of things, and it will be a great addition to go as a companion to a bigger forge. And I am okay with it right now. It is where it is. And there's my table vise. This table vise and this anvil both belong to my uncle. And you know, he kind of got me fascinated in working with metal at a very early age. He was a full-time machinist, part-time like hobby blacksmith, hobby metal caster. He was into everything. He had a full-blown machine shop in his house. And he passed away suddenly in '07 without warning. And it definitely screwed my entire life up, I'll tell you that. But that sat outside for 7 years before I could get it and bring it home. And once I got it home, I could only use it for a few weeks before I had to pack it back up. So I'm excited to get this thing back out and stretch it out some. And that clamp, I've got a few of those that are about that size, but I need much larger. But that's an investment later on in the project. The project being setting the stuff up. And safety Sunday, punks. Yeah, there's the drill press vise I bought for myself because I knew I was going to be making a lot of blades. Cripes. And this is my 12 gauge shotgun cleaning kit. And this is the kind of stuff I was making before I put everything up. And this is an absolute beast, but when I look closely after it sat for a while and got some oxidation on it, there's like little tiny lightning bolts going through here that are on the spine on one side, so I'm pretty sure the metal's pretty badly compromised from overheating it. But that's what I do when I skin a bowling ball, is make these scales. And this was mystery steel that I just hammered out into a shape, and this is what I arrived at after a while and made Purple Heart scales because I love Purple Heart. And Honduran rosewood on an 01 tool steel straight razor style knife. I want to make a sheath for this and carry it when I learn how to make those, because this is a great knife. It is incredibly sharp. It's held an edge, but it's been stored for a long time, which is probably why it still has an edge. But the fit up on those scales is beautiful. The book matching on the scales came out beautiful. You know, I couldn't be happier with this project overall. But I didn't design this shape on purpose. This is what came out of the steel when I hammered it. And I will freely admit my shortcomings in that department. On Safety Sunday, I talked about a wood clamp that my dad made about a decade ago when he was turning pins. This is it. You know, this thing opens up. It's two-handed, and I'm trying to do this one-handed. But you open it up, put your piece in there, and tighten these wing nuts down, and it holds everything great. You just have to understand how it holds things and make sure you're not about to exceed its limitations. And those are going to be for sanding stuff dead flat, like knife blades, you know, the walls, the bevels, all that. If you're going to do any work at all and you don't have a ton of these, you're an idiot. And you know, this is what I have to start with in this room. And we'll go to the workshop that I'm working on cleaning out and moving into the garage. It's a mess, forgive me. Oh, lights! There's the shop vac I bought to replace my living room ceiling, or correction, the popcorn on the living room ceiling. It was falling down and I had to do something about it, and I couldn't spend 10 grand on contractors of scaffolding. But, you know, there's the wall of tools. Got one of my drills there, pry bars, quick clamps, machetes, T-square, the Sawzall, jigsaw. You can't live without those. And we got all these tools that when I moved, it was an emergency, get everything packed and move on the same day deal, and I didn't have much in the way of help, so I had to like do me and my kids, which was everything I brought from the house I lived in before the divorce and all of their stuff in one day, packed and moved. That's how this got this way. Just putting everything that I knew I needed in here, but not organizing it. But there's the MIDI lathe for turning pins. There's the bandsaw. Both of those are going to go out in the garage. And yeah, and I apologize again for how raw this footage is. Oh! This is something I'm going to explore further. These die grinding stones are available at, I believe, Lowe's, probably Home Depot too, for like $5. And you can take, especially this bad boy right here, and chuck it in your drill press, run the quill all the way down, and lock it down. And you can take metal and put it in there and work it kind of like a router, and work it over, and it gets results. It's not the fastest thing ever, but it's pretty clean, and it works when you don't have anything else. And speaking of drill press, there it is. It's a small one, but it's treated me well for a long time. there's my bench grinder. I bought that at Dollar General 16 or 17 years ago for 35 bucks. Still going strong, still on the original wheels after sharpening years of lawnmower blades and everything. One of my favorite tricks is the Kin Onion work sharp with the blade smithing attachment. Make no mistakes, you will not grind out a blade on that. It just makes it very easy to sharpen on the slack part between the two wheels on the top. But yeah, all this is going to be broken down and reorganized and put out in the garage. And I've got a sink in my workshop and I've got a toilet. I'm not going to focus on that because we all know what those are. My cornhole tables. And one last thing. Alright. I'm planning on getting some workbenches built that start about where this PVC pipe is and go all the way here, hit this corner, and go all the way to about where the wheelbarrow is, maybe a little bit past it, depends on what my wife's RAV4 will allow. Which, by the way, that's the first car I ever bought and had payments on, and I paid it all off, and I never missed a payment, and I'm so proud of that. And then my wife got it because her car got totaled, and she decided to use the money from the car being totaled to buy me the truck that I've been wanting for about 13 years because I married the perfect woman. And it's possible for you to do that too if you're not stupid about it. But yeah, once these things are all built out and set up fully, I'm planning on documenting a lot of the work that I'm doing. I'm planning on let's see, I'll just turn this around. I'm planning on doing a lot of documenting the work I'm doing, because I have all these tools that I bought. When I brought the anvil home, I bought the belt grinder, I bought the forge, I put together the rest of the tools in the workshop from, you know, the woodworking shop my dad set me up with, stuff that I bought myself, what I could scavenge, what I could find. And you know, I had all this stuff up for a few weeks and didn't get much time to use it and had to pack it back up. So I am a complete beginner with using these tools. I have been through a quarter welding class and years and years and years of worksite safety training. That's why I'm as safety conscious as I am. Even though I'm not 100% safe 100% of the time, I do take as many measures as I know how to take to reduce the amount of risk I put myself under, because I hurt myself more than often enough just doing things that are supposed to be safe. And what I'd like to do really, and I know I'm rambling because I'm not used to being on camera, but the ultimate goal is to basically have a channel where, you know, anybody interested in watching, all one or two of you, can watch me learn how to do this stuff. You know, the question that drives Curiosity Forge is not going to be, can it be done? The question is going to be, can I do it with my current skill set? And, you know, and I'll primarily be working on blades and adding other projects in as I think of them. For you Forging It Forward guys, I'm trying to think of a way to make good sets of tongs for next to nothing, as far as raw materials, like, you know, scavenging and scrounging steel, so that, you know, if manufacturing a set of tongs becomes a 10 or 15 minute process, some of them can be given away, you know, because I've got plenty of shop. And we're supposed to be helping beginning smiths, and one good pair of tongs can save a new smith that doesn't have a lot of tools hours of misery. And I'm also planning on putting up a whiteboard with projects that I need to do before my bucket list is complete, because there are quite a few of them. But yeah, you know, that's where I'm at. And, you know, I'm also trying to curb the use of profanity for this work. You know, just so y'all know, I work in profanity the way Michelangelo worked in ceiling paint, or the way Picasso worked in painting pictures of people so ugly he had to do that to make sure they didn't know that he thought they were ugly. And it detracts from things like this. You know, some guys, you know, can use profanity and it's not a big deal because they haven't taken a master's level course in it and turned it into an art form. To the point where people that you cannot offend become offended. I, however, have, and once I start, there is no stopping it. It is completely autopilot. So, you know, I cannot speak for other smiths that make videos, but for me, if I start using profanity like that, it will 100% detract from the quality of the experience I'm trying to create for someone that might want to watch me fail while I'm learning something, if that makes any sense. But yeah, and hopefully before long the camera quality will increase too. Right now I'm shooting this on my phone with KineMaster, which James Davis recommended, and I'm trying out the software, trying out my phone, and hopefully eventually I can invest in like a GoPro on a tripod so I can mount it somewhere, and maybe bring my oldest kid in as a videographer and helping with the editing, because she's doing graphic arts, she's doing a lot of artistic stuff. Given the way she's treating the rest of her school career, learning how to edit videos properly and stuff like that may be her only saving grace for finding full-time employment worth more than $11 an hour. So yeah, there's that. But you know, hopefully everybody that sees this kind of gets where I'm going and isn't too annoyed by the length and low quality of this video and the shakiness of the camera work. And we can get on to doing some work sometime soon. One of my first projects is going to be manufacturing a kiridashi and seeing how well I can make one of those. They look very simple. And that's going to be for my dad. He's a woodworker, and you know, I don't talk to him much right now, but he keeps sending care packages over with my brother that are full of pen blanks, knife scales, stuff like that. So I'm going to take some O1 tool steel or leaf spring or some of the block cutting steel that I got and make a kiridashi and see how good I can do with that, because it's a Japanese woodworking tool that's got a ton of uses. But that's all I got for right now before I'm holding you guys hostage. So if you managed to sit through all this, thank you so much. See you later. Okay, so one other thing that I forgot is while I was doing the other part of the video, I'm trying to multitask and cover too many areas at once to make this a single video that I don't have to go back and cover again. But the hammer collection right now is kind of a big deal for anyone smithing. Here is a pack of abrasives I ordered off eBay. It's a multi-pack with all kinds of different stuff so I can find out what I like. But I had these two for doing a lot of work, and I found out this hammer is both too short and needs to have the faces addressed badly because it makes a lot of nasty indentations where you don't want them in your steel when you hit it. This was an entire framing hammer at one point, and it was a beautiful hammer for smithing. This face would just smooth things out so well and leave such a great finish. And if I needed to, if my arm was tired from the 3-pounder, I could switch to this and wail on stuff all day. And no, it wouldn't move as much steel, but the hits would be accurate, and that matters a lot more. You can move 30 feet of steel with one hammer blow, but if you hit it in the wrong place, it doesn't count. I'm actually planning on emulating the weight and feel of this hammerhead when I make my own custom, so that I've got that. This did have a blow deadener, but you can see the mount where the shaft connected to the handle. And I was going to town on a piece of steel, and I hear a loud ping, and watch this go sailing over my head and land behind me. Realized people were right when they said I shouldn't do this. But for you guys that don't have hammers, this is the best thing in the world. Went to Harbor Freight, bought these for like $7 a pop, and I took them down to my bladesmith's house to try them out, and they work beautifully. I just got to dress the faces up a little bit. If you don't have hammers and you want to smith, Harbor Freight sells these two 3-pound sledges that will get tons and tons of work done and take care of you for quite a while. And you don't have to beg, you don't have to borrow, you don't have to look for handouts. You can afford 14 bucks. If you go on separate days and buy them one at a time, you can use the 25% off coupon you can pull up on your phone and make them even cheaper. I don't know what I'm going to do with this here. I just know it exists and it came from my uncle's collection. Maybe one of y'all knows what it's for. I don't. I assume it's for breaking up rocks or something like that. And the other thing I wanted to look at is my collection of tongs. And I'm going to sit down for this because they're close to the floor. And when I first started, I found a guy selling blacksmithing gear on Craigslist. He sells old stuff. He goes out of the state and buys anvils, tongs, the works for dirt cheap, brings them back and flips them for not as cheap, but still cheap. So I got these. I got a couple of hoof nipper tongs, one of which is back in the room with the lathe, and I'm not sure why it's back there. yeah, I've got these, and I took a grinder to them and opened the tip up so I can use these to hold wider square stock and wider round stock, which they have treated me okay for that, and they only cost like maybe $5. Let's see, which ones are these? Oh yeah, some more flat nips, and these have the rounded face for grabbing round stock, which is cool. They cost me next to nothing. But when I bought these, I found shortcomings with the way I work and the way I relate to these tools. So I did the next smartest thing that I could. Let's see. Yeah, I went online and ordered, and I spent like, I think, $150 or so on. We got some really nice wolf jaws here. I think that's what they are. They'll hold a lot of stuff. Camera won't focus right now, but you know, they're brand new. They've barely been touched. We have got another set of large steel holders, which these haven't seen much use either. And I got blade box tongs. If you're working on blades, you need to get or modify a set into blade box tongs, because for holding small flat pieces, these are what the 8-pound, 9-ounce baby Jesus wanted me to have. These have seen use, and quite a bit. These tongs held that giant chopper up with some difficulty, but not much. These have seen a lot of use too. They're my railroad spike tongs, and they are bought because they are shaped specifically for railroad spike and square stock of about that size. And I haven't regretted this purchase one bit. You know, buying the right tongs for what I want to do saved me a lot of time and saved me a lot of headaches. But unfortunately, I'm not at a point where I can just buy them to give away. I'm going to have to learn how to make them if I want to give them away. And we got Hot Cut Hardy tool. I got that with the guy that was selling off the cheap tongs and anvils. And somewhere, yeah. Here is a broken hot cut tool that I'm in the process of grinding into a bottom fuller so that I have something to use for that. And, you know, like I said, I mean, this is all for mostly bladesmithing and doing occasionally hammers and some decorative stuff. And, oh, here's the other set of hoof nippers. Yeah, I brought them in and threw them in here. So, you know, that's what I had to work with for hammers, tongs, tools, the works. And you can easily make tongs. I didn't know they were easy to make, and I wanted to save myself a lot of time and a lot of headaches and get to work on what I wanted to do. Oh yeah, these shelves will be gone and replaced with proper workbench, because these shelves can't hold a lot of weight. I tried to put this disc sander up here and everything buckled. So, yeah. I will have another shop tour once everything is done, but I think that's it. Now let's see if I can edit 3 videos together.